How old are you?
You are the problem here.
Did he know who was doing it?
Yes.
Who was that?
He identified the person as Miss Alyssa Zinger.
This story contains graphic and disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Look closely at this girl. She seems innocent. A typical teenager filming a video in a bathroom mirror. She smiles like a child. She moves like a child. Thousands of people scroll past this video every day without a second thought. It looks safe. It looks normal. But everything you see is a dangerous lie. Because this is not a teenager, and this is not an innocent game. This is a trap set for your children. The person you are looking at is not 14. She is not 16. This is Alyssa Zinger, and she is an adult woman, 23 years old. She lied about her age. She lied about being homeschooled to avoid questions. She built a perfect camouflage to hide a terrifying reality. Living in two worlds, knowing social media inside out, aware of her actions. Her name is Alyssa Zinger. This story starts not on TikTok. TikTok is just the front, a tool. The real tale is a double life. Hidden for years, it seemed so normal. No one looked deeper. In real life, Alyssa was invisible. She worked at a bakery and a grocery store in Tampa, Florida. Quiet, polite, boring. Her coworkers saw a shy young woman focused on her job. They had no idea that the moment her shift ended, the monster would wake up. While she was packing dough and sugar, she was already planning her next move online. She shut her room door. A new world started. No uniforms, no schedules, no bosses, no real-life rules, just a phone, a screen. She used TikTok and Snapchat to find boys, posed as homeschooled teen from Wilson Middle School area. It made her seem local, real. Boys believed it. Full control over her identity. This Alyssa was no accident. Not impulsive, not one bad choice, not a breakdown, born from watching, analyzing, waiting patiently. She copied their spelling mistakes. She mimicked their emotional outbursts. She knew exactly how to sound like a lonely, misunderstood 14-year-old girl. She perfected the mask so well that no one could tell the difference between her and a real child. TikTok was her shop front, not for showing off, for picking targets. Court records show at least 5 boys, aged 12 to 15. Alyssa met them online. She acted like one of them. They trusted her, shared secrets. It felt real to them, but it was all planned. She posted videos, watched reactions, who commented first, who came back often, who replied fast, who pushed to chat privately. Not fun for her. A filter. Found someone interesting? Moved to private chats. She met one boy in person. After months online, they went to a park, talked. It felt normal. He was 13. She acted 14. That day changed everything for him. In that world, Alyssa did not just switch. She changed pace. Speech altered. Reactions slow or fast. Based on the person, teens vary tones, fluctuate, hesitate, vanish for hours. Then long texts at night. She copied it perfectly. No doubt left. Messages seem natural. Pauses, broken sentences, sudden emotions. Wrote, fine, not full. Delayed replies. Returned with sorry. Explanation felt real. Built on fears. Being ignored. Seeming clingy. Losing connection. Not just acting. Full immersion. Alyssa knew perfection scares teens. They distrust it. Trust chaos. Her image was flawed, vulnerable, complained about school vaguely, fictional friend fights, home issues hinted. No full explain, half hints worked best. No rush, no quick wins. Contacts grew slow, mundane, days with nothing big, short texts, small reactions, built normality, blurred online and real. It went far beyond text messages. The real work happened in private messages. That is where Alyssa gradually reduced distance. She shared secrets, asked for advice. She used Snapchat. Police found those videos later, asked questions that seemed small but required emotional involvement. That is how reciprocity formed. And the longer communication lasted, the harder it became to tell where affection ended and dependency began.
They have to do their job.
Are you rolling?
It's their job to do.
We'll explain everything that's going on in a minute. Okay, you don't
I know what they want. They
Yeah.
want pictures of her room to see the walls and see, say, oh, this is the room she did it in, and that's it.
Yeah, no, it's,
Do you have anything on you? Phones, tablets, anything?
I have my.
no weapons or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We don't-
Perfect, I appreciate
We're
it.
not gonna do something.
Once again, this is, something procedural. If there were, like any additional charges or anything like that, we would have communicated that with your attorney, and your attorney would get in contact with you guys, to make those kind of arrangements. We want everything to be as civil as possible whenever it comes to executing residential search warrants. That's something that they're not privy to with that information. That's something that we have to execute in, a capacity of maintaining the integrity of the investigation, okay? So we're not trying to scare you or anything like that, and this morning, like I said, we were talking a moment ago, that is all procedural, trust me. It's a headache for us to put all that together too, whenever we know that it's nothing that's probably going to be needed. But because historically
Just a
there have
simple
been,
call would have, we said, hey.
I know, but they won't let us do that.
You guys might do that. Other people, not so
Absolutely.
much.
We have those
So,
0.01%
Right.
times where
Oh,
we
you
think
gotta
everything is
prepare.
going to go swimmingly, and unfortunately somebody comes
Something
out
bad.
with something violent. So that's why they have us do things a certain way.
Now, the police officer explained to Zinger and her parents what they were going to do.
Our crime detection, whenever she gets here, we're going to go through the house, and we'll take pictures and document and stuff like that. And she'll also get a copy of, or she'll be, she'll get a copy of the search warrant to take pictures and document of too, which I'll go ahead and just kind of review this with you now, okay? So, just so you know that it is something that is valid and signed by a judge, okay?
Yeah, we know that.
So it says, whereas, complaint on oath and in writing, supported by affidavit, has been made before me, Judge Thomas Palermo, in and for Hillsborough County, Florida, by Amanda Baranowski, that would be me, the affiant of the Tampa Police Department, who states, okay, it says that your affiant has reason to believe and does believe certain residents of Alyssa Ann Zinger, which would be you, located in Hillsborough County, Florida, described as follows, to wit, the residents of Alyssa Ann Zinger at 1714 West 4 Drive, okay, which is, the color, I guess, could be debatable as far as what you exactly would want to describe it as, but olive green with brown trim, or brown with brown trim. The residence is located on the south side of West 4 Drive and is facing north. The defendant's parents identified, and the address and the residence is the premise where the defendant occupies, lives, and has access to. And there is now being kept in on said residence certain evidence, to wit, okay, and the scope of the search in this is for a device.
The last time you guys did this, we were able to at least have one person come with you. Why is that like?
It's technically, this house is ours now. We have a search warrant, it's ours.
But
So
we did do this, she signed.
if she wants to allow that, it's up to her. This is her case, she's the case
The
agent.
main thing is, like, as long as you're all together with the camera, that's,
I can tell you we're not going to be tearing the house apart.
no, but what I'm saying is, I just want it on camera what you're doing.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Just for our, like, not 3 in this room, 2 in that room, 5, doing this and that. You got together, you do whatever you got to do, we give you 100%, you're going to do it anyway, but you have our, you have our.
I can't guarantee that that's the way it's going to be. Like, we don't normally record, every single motion. We have the body camera here, obviously, he's going to record what he can, but we're also not going to be here till 3 in the morning because we have to let one person record everything we're doing. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a compromise there, but next time I ask that you guys maybe tidy up a little bit more and maybe get rid of some of the clutter. I'm joking. This house is the most uncluttered house I've ever seen in my life.
I was going to say, well, wait till you see my closet.
There's nothing in this house. There's not a picture up on the wall. There's not like a set of keys on it. There's nothing.
I know, we try to keep it.
It's a model home.
Now, at one point, Alyssa Zinger's father actually becomes emotional. He tells the officers that what's happened with his daughter's arrest has actually brought them closer together as a family.
And I can say one good thing that's come out of this, we got our family back, We finally got our daughter back where she lays with us and watches TV. She hangs up with us now, but she won't have a phone ever again. When they came in to look for that phone, there was an iPad and a phone on the table. I looked at it and she goes, "Is that the phone?" I said, "I do believe so." I say, "This is her phone here." Ha ha ha. No. I handed her the phone and said, "I do believe it." And I even said, if you watch the body cam, I said, "What model is this? I'm not sure. I got like a freaking 8, you know? So she took the phone, and that's that. Now, I wasn't trying to be manipulative. And anyway, in fact, tell you this, if someone's trying to hide something, the phone was dead. I said, you want to take your phone and leave? Which I could have said if I was not trying to work with you people. But what did I say? I bet you watched the cam. I said, ma'am, there's a charger right there. Go ahead and charge the phone.
So like I said,
I'm just telling you.
making a statement that the phone
I just want to let you know we're being transparent.
From May 2022 to May 2023, he believed her age, trusted her completely. She never appeared abruptly. Even when conversation shifted toward more personal topics, it happened gradually. First moods, then fears, then jealousy, and only then, boundaries that blurred so slowly their disappearance went almost unnoticed. For those communicating with her, it did not feel dangerous. It felt like normal teenage relationships, a little dramatic, a little complicated, but familiar. That familiarity was the key. She did not create a new reality, she copied the one they already lived in. Alyssa was not just lying to one boy. She was running a factory of deceit. To each boy, she was his unique girlfriend. But in reality, it was cold, calculated, and systematic. She viewed these boys not as people, but as objects to be controlled. Her day in digital space had no clear boundaries. She could wake up and reply to one person without finishing a conversation with another. She could disappear for hours for one contact while actively communicating with someone else. And this unevenness did not look suspicious. It looked natural. Teenagers often disappear, often go silent, often do not explain. Alyssa used this as cover. Each contact had its own dynamic. With one, she was quieter and more vulnerable. With another, active, emotional, almost intrusive. She adapted not only to personality, but to reactions. If someone needed constant attention, she rationed it. If someone distanced themselves, she might suddenly pull closer, creating a sense of loss, and then return. This was not chaotic. It was real-time observation.
Post these pictures though.
They don't post your pictures. This is for their investigation.
Okay, well,
There's nothing to be anybody's
That's my
business.
stuff, yeah.
That's nobody's business. They just got to do their job. They got to take pictures of what they need to do. And I think you guys should leave.
I can't.
Well, I mean,
They surrounded the whole car. Like, I literally can't even.
I don't think they meant it like that.
Well, there's 5 cars, so how do I back out? No, I can't even go in the hot tub. My back hurts. And I can be closed.
Did they hear a collapse? They all.
What, in her bedroom they do that? They
They're
do
all
that?
broken, and that's heavy.
I think their main focus is her room.
Did it collapse?
Yeah, they hear about my room, not that.
That's what they're worried about. Hey, they're doing their job.
Acting like I'm a murderer.
They got to protect. Hey, they don't know who is here. They got to protect themselves. This is a crazy world. People are mental. They got issues. There's men probably out there that would do something stupid. You know what I mean? They got to protect themselves. You know what I mean? There's a lot of crazy people out there. So, and a lot of people don't like police. You know? But that's not us. And like I said, we back you guys 100%. That's for sure. We have friends. And
Yeah, you're friends with a lot of police.
I have a lot of friends that are police, and we firefighters. And
If earlier she asked to understand, now she asked to record. She began remembering details, times, circumstances, inconsistencies, and if something did not add up, she did not accuse directly. She became offended, withdrawn, silent, and that made the other person feel guilty. This is how the first emotional swings appeared. Warmth alternated with coldness without explanation. Short replies shifted to long confessions. Each contrast strengthened attachment.
being respectful with our stuff. This isn't ripping your house apart, destroy your home, smash all your windows, and flash bangs, and like I said, I just wish they would have called us and said, hey, or called our attorney and said, hey, we'd like to, okay, come on in.
Because when a person does not understand what went wrong, They start looking for the reason in themselves. That is where control lived. Because how do you explain that the problem is not a single event, but constant tension? In parallel, Alyssa began blurring boundaries. Not abruptly, not immediately. She waited until contact became routine, until messages became part of daily life. Only then did topics appear that previously seemed unacceptable. She could share a secret requiring trust, hint at something personal without finishing the thought, say she didn't text anyone else like this. This created a sense of exclusivity, and when someone believes in their own exclusivity, they more easily accept what once felt wrong. All of this happened simultaneously with multiple people. Alyssa could be in conflict with one, reconciling with another, and growing closer to a third, all in the same day. It did not overload her emotionally. On the contrary, it gave her a sense of control. She never mixed up details. She remembered who said what, who was upset about what, who feared what. This was not intuition. It was attention multiplied by time. And another thing became clear later. She was not afraid of losing contact. If someone tried to leave, she let them go, but not without consequences. She kept the possibility of return, of influence, of using what had been said before. That is how the network did not just exist, it held. And at this point, the story definitively stops being about weird online relationships. It becomes a story about systemic influence, where an adult methodically uses adolescent vulnerability, hiding behind familiar forms of communication. From the outside, it still does not look dangerous, but inside, nothing is accidental anymore. Over time, another component appears: comparison that is never voiced directly. Alyssa never said, "You're not like the others." She created conditions where the other person reached that conclusion themselves. She might casually mention someone who didn't understand her, a friend who disappeared, someone who let her down. Each fragment worked as a warning. If you disappear, you become another name on that list. That is how a silent rule of loyalty formed. She did not forbid communication with others. She made it psychologically unprofitable. When someone talked about friends or plans, Alyssa might respond neutrally, without joy, without interest. That was enough.
So this girlfriend not your daughter? Okay. Have you contacted your parents?
Yeah, I can't get a hold of her.
Okay. Well, I gotta try to contact them. Because how old are you? 14. Yeah, so unless they tell me that I can release them, which I'm sure they will, but I just...
You read my text.
For legality purposes, I mean, if you want to reach out to him just so I could speak with him, just obviously, you know, it's going to come with liability to me if anything was to happen.
My parents know I'm with him, so.
I understand that. But for my job and my purposes, I need to confirm that because you're a juvenile. So once your parents tell me that they're okay with you going with them, perfectly fine. Okay? Straight to voicemail.
The person quickly learned that what receives no approval is better hidden. That is how the first secrets appeared, not as trust, but as avoidance of discomfort. At that point, the network began to function autonomously. Alyssa no longer needed to intervene actively. Control maintained itself. When someone tried to change the rules, reduce communication, or set boundaries, she did not confront immediately. She disappeared. For an hour. For an evening. Sometimes for a day. Her silence was intentional. It had no explanation, and therefore became stronger than words, because silence forces people to fill the gaps with their own fears. When she returned, she did not apologize directly. She might write something like, "I just didn't want to bother you," or "I figured you had better things to do." This shifted responsibility again. And the other person, without noticing, began to justify themselves. Thus, dependency formed not on Alyssa's presence, but on her reaction. In some cases, she introduced another element: reward. After a cold period came unexpected warmth, a long message, a confession, words of support. The contrast was so sharp that the warmth imprinted more strongly than the previous discomfort. People began craving that return moment, not noticing that the path to it ran through pain. At the same time, Alyssa carefully tracked who began to doubt. She saw it in small things: delayed replies, shorter phrases, disappearing emojis. and in those moments, she changed tactics. With some, she softened. With others, she became more dramatic. With others still, suddenly distant.
You have a sister named Alyssa?
Yeah, a half sister.
A half-sister?
Yeah.
Okay, but you don't have the same middle name, I'm assuming?
I don't know.
What?
I don't have anyone else that. My dad, my parents are like, I'm with him.
So I'm going to document that you're going home with them.
Okay. That's fine.
I tried to get in contact with your parents. You made efforts. So, like I said, it's just for liability reasons. So you're Alyssa. What's your middle name?
I'm just Alyssa Zinger.
Just Alyssa Singer? Okay. All right.
Like, my mom was already going to come pick me up at his house later anyway. My stuff's upstairs.
The choice depended not on liking, but on effectiveness. The network was flexible. If one node weakened, she reinforced others. Some contacts were kept at a distance, not for closeness, but as reserve. They received less attention, less emotion, but stayed attached enough to be reactivated if needed. This was a backup plan, and the existence of this reserve gave her calm. At some point, the first signs of internal conflict appeared among the victims. That communication took more than it gave, but these feelings had no name. They did not feel serious. How do you call something abuse when it happens through messages? Laws lag behind tech. Hard to prove online grooming. Evidence deletes easy. Victims hesitate to speak. System slow. Justice delayed. Kids suffer more. How do you complain about someone who formally demands nothing? That ambiguity was the key. Alyssa never issued direct ultimatums. She never said, if you don't do this, I'm leaving. She created conditions where people arrived at the desired decisions themselves, believing them to be their own. That is why later it was so difficult for many to accept manipulation.
Alright, so Alyssa, you're gonna go home with. Do you have any questions? No? We're not gonna do this again? Sure? Dad told me you make money. And you could have spent $100. Alright? Alright, man, this is one shot. You get one shot to do this program. After this, there's no more. So let's just make smart choices, okay? Alright, sir. Thanks, guys. Take care.
They remembered their decisions, their words, and it felt voluntary. Meanwhile, the network expanded. New contacts were additions, not replacements. Alyssa did not end old connections immediately. She kept them suspended, letting them smolder. This created an illusion of stability on one side and a constant emotional flow on the other. For her, this was not emotionally exhausting. It was structured. She did not experience each conflict. She recorded reactions, remembered, drew conclusions, moved on. At this stage, it becomes clear. This story is not about feelings or impulses. It is about a system built on predictable human reactions and about someone who learned to use that predictability. From the outside, nothing serious is happening. No scandals, no reports, no adult intervention. But inside the network, tension has already become constant. And that tension will later make the rupture not just painful, but dangerous. The first malfunction did not look like catastrophe. It did not arrive as accusations, searches, or loud words. It appeared quietly as a small inconsistency that did not fit the usual pattern. That is why Alyssa did not perceive it as a threat. She saw it as a temporary inconvenience. Until that moment, the network worked flawlessly. Contacts stayed tense but unbroken. People disappeared and returned. They doubted, but did not leave completely. Control remained hers. And suddenly, a reaction appeared that did not fit the usual scripts. One contact stopped responding the same way, not disappearing entirely, but not returning to the familiar rhythm. Messages grew drier, pauses lengthened, and most importantly, the need to justify vanished. A small detail, but one that signaled change. Alyssa noticed immediately. She applied standard tactics, light withdrawal, brief silence, then a neutral message that did not demand response but created presence. She expected apologies, explanations, attempts to restore contact. They did not come. For the first time, the network did not respond predictably. She did not panic. She moved to the next level, changed tone, became softer, wrote longer, shared concern, no accusations. But again, the response stayed restrained. Contact did not break, but it did not submit. For Alyssa, this meant losing a critical variable, predictability. For the first time in a long while, she could not determine exactly what stage the connection was in, and that uncertainty became dangerous. A system built on control cannot tolerate incomplete control. Another crack appeared. A different contact asked a question that had not been asked before. Not directly, not confrontationally, but with subtext. Questions about details, circumstances, things previously considered understood. Not accusation, doubt. Alyssa responded calmly, confidently. She was used to this. But this time, explanation did not relieve tension. It did not close the topic. It did not restore the familiar flow. The doubt remained. And that doubt began to spread not as open discussion, but internal process. People who had once accepted her words without question now began comparing details, not actively, not systematically, but enough to feel discomfort. It did not feel like exposure. It felt like something not adding up. Alyssa reacted as she always had, by tightening control. More attentiveness, more frequent messages, more careful wording. She tried to close gaps before they became problems, but she made a mistake. Her attention became too noticeable. What once felt like care now felt like pressure. For some contacts, this became a moment of internal resistance. Not active, not aggressive, but enough to change behavior. They began saving messages, rereading old conversations, noticing repeated phrases, identical scripts, similar emotional cycles. The network encountered internal analysis for the first time. Alyssa felt it. She saw the tone change, the pauses, the lack of emotional return. And here, a new reaction emerged. Irritation. Not open, not verbal, but tangible. She no longer received the usual confirmation of her role. At this point, it became clear. The system was not just malfunctioning. It was losing its ability to self-repair. And then something happened that she did not plan. One person from the network stopped trying to figure it out alone. They did not search messages for answers. They did not wait for reconciliation. They stepped beyond digital space, a step that once felt excessive. They talked to someone else. There were no loud words, no scandal, just a conversation, a check. Is this normal? And in that conversation, for the first time, a phrase appeared that did not fit any prior scenario. Are you sure she's your age? The question was quiet, but it changed everything. Because from that moment on, the network was no longer closed, and control was no longer absolute. Stepping outside the digital space did not look dramatic. No one ran to a police station screaming. There was no hysteria or immediate accusation. It was a careful attempt to understand whether what was happening even had a name. That is how cases that later become criminal usually begin not with certainty, but with doubt. And when that doubt reaches adults for the first time, everything changes instantly. Police do not begin with loud actions. The first steps are routine, fact-checking, name checks, age verification.
Home is blurred, it's redacted. Zinger's father had a couple of questions for these officers.
Quick question. The last time you guys did this, we were able to at least have one person come with you. Why is that difficult?
It's technically, this house is ours now. We have a search warrant, it's ours.
But
So
we did do this, she signed.
if she wants to allow that, it's up to her. This is her case, she's the case
The
agent.
main thing is, like, as long as you're all together with the camera, that's.
I can tell you we're not gonna be tearing the house apart.
No, but what I'm saying is, I just want it on camera what you're doing.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Just for our, like, not 3 in this room, 2 in that room, 5, doing this and that. You go together, you do whatever you gotta do, we give you 100%, you're gonna do it anyway, but you have our, you have our.
I can't guarantee that that's the way it's gonna be. Like, we don't normally record, every single motion. We have the body camera here, obviously, he's gonna record what he can, but we're also not gonna be here till 3 in the morning because we have to let one person record everything we're doing. You know what I mean? So there's gonna be a compromise there, but I mean, next time I ask that you guys maybe tidy up a little bit more and maybe get rid of some of the clutter. I'm joking. This house is the most uncluttered house I've ever seen in my life.
I was gonna say, well, wait till you see my closet.
There's nothing in this house. There's not a picture up on the wall. There's not like a set of keys on it. There's nothing.
I know, we try to keep it.
We got a model home.
What looks like formality to outsiders becomes deadly for a legend built on details. Because formalities demand consistency, and consistency is not found. In Tampa school records, there is no student with that name and birth year. No school records for her fake self. System checks late. Homeschool claim hides it. Kids fall through cracks. Police find out after harm done. No transfer records, no homeschooling references. Nothing confirming the existence of the 14-year-old girl Alyssa claimed to be for months. This does not look like a system gap. It looks like a missing person. Instead, databases show someone else with the same name, adult, of age, with a completely different birth year. At that moment, suspicion becomes concrete. Police act cautiously. No sudden moves, no immediate charges. In cases like this, it is crucial not to alert someone who might destroy evidence. Investigators need to see how she behaves when she must defend the legend, not before teenagers, but before the system. And that moment arrives by chance. It all came crashing down in July 2023. Police stopped Alyssa and one of the boys at a mall for shoplifting. The officer asked for her age. Without blinking, this 22-year-old woman looked a police officer in the eye and said, "I am 14. Her voice was steady. She was so used to the lie that she did not even panic. When the officer found her real ID in the database, she instantly invented a story about a stepsister with the same name. She was a professional liar until the very end. She delivers it quickly, as if long prepared, without emotion, without fear, without need to clarify. This moment becomes key for investigators, because it shows not just lying, but readiness for verification. She is not improvising. She is using a prepared script. That means awareness of risk existed long before this moment. After the incident, police returned to collected materials, messages, timelines, contacts, and the picture assembles faster. What once looked like isolated odd episodes now forms a logical chain. In November, investigators arrive at her parents' house with a search warrant. And again, expectations are defied. No panic, no surprise, no questions about the case. Instead, cold composure, talk of lawyers, procedures, rights. Her father immediately assumes control. Her parents gave police the wrong phone. It was her mother's old one. Empty. The real phone vanished. They said it was lost, but it looked planned. To hide evidence. He speaks of his daughter's issues, her psychological state, claims she was influenced by others. There's no concern for victims, only an attempt to shape narrative. The phone handed to police is nearly empty. Later, it becomes clear this is not Alyssa's primary device, but her mother's old phone. The real phone, the one used for communication, disappears. The family claims it was lost. But the confidence with which this is presented does not feel accidental. During the search, Alyssa barely speaks. She lets her father answer. She does not explain, does not justify. Her silence does not look like fear. It looks like a waiting tactic. When police return to document her room, a different emotion appears: irritation. She is offended not by investigation itself, but by being treated like a dangerous criminal. At one point, she says she feels as though she is being treated like a murderer. There is no remorse in her words. No, sorry, from her, just irritation. Victims spoke pain. She focused on herself, felt unfair. That gap shocked the court, only a sense of injustice toward herself. At this stage, it becomes clear. The legend no longer works. It still exists in messages and memories, but in the real world, it cannot withstand scrutiny. Each police step narrows space for maneuver. The network that existed in shadow for years is now lit from outside. Later, a judge said no bond. She stays in jail. Until trial, no phones, no contact. Her world shrinks. Boys start healing. Slowly. And the control that seemed absolute begins to dissolve. The courtroom is nothing like digital space. There is no ability to edit messages after sending. No pauses explained by bad internet. No emojis to soften tone. Every word carries weight. Every gesture is recorded. And in this space, legends either withstand scrutiny or collapse completely. Alyssa appears in court without demonstrative emotion. She sits upright, looks forward, listens carefully. She looked calm in court. No tears. but charges were heavy, victims hurt. Her face showed nothing. That puzzled everyone. Her behavior does not seem chaotic or confused. On the contrary, she appears composed, focused. This is not the behavior of someone who does not understand seriousness. It is the behavior of someone accustomed to controlling impressions. But this time, control is not hers. The prosecution begins without emotional emphasis.
Every time something happens that the state puts on that maybe you disagree with, you shake your head no. You don't seem to understand that the problem is not who recorded the video. The problem is you are in multiple. You are an adult. You are the problem here. Your actions are illegal, and it's not okay. Whether they took the video or you took the video, you are the only adult.
Lives changed forever. No dramatic language, no moralizing. They begin with chronology, dates, time frames, messages, facts, laid out like a map. And the longer it goes on, the clearer the structure becomes, one that cannot be explained by chance. Contacts overlap. Conversations run in parallel. The role of a 14-year-old girl is maintained for months without failure. The prosecution points to repeated linguistic constructions, identical emotional scenarios, similar cycles of closeness, withdrawal, return. They do not speak of feelings, they speak of patterns. And patterns do not appear randomly.
What I can't understand is when they are trying to help you to the extent that it interferes with a criminal investigation and to the extent that it helps you evade accountability and responsibility.
The shopping mall episode occupies a central place. In July 2023, at a mall, police stopped her for theft. She said she was 14, gave a fake story about a stepsister. Calmly, no fear. Body camera footage is shown. The court watches Alyssa calmly identify herself as a minor. How quickly she offers the stepsister explanation. How her tone does not change even when the officer points out inconsistencies.
You have a sister named Alyssa?
Yeah, a half sister.
A half sister?
Yeah.
Okay, but you don't have the same middle name, I'm assuming?
I don't have anyone else. My dad, my parents know I'm with him.
So I'm going to document that you're going home with them.
Okay.
I tried to get in contact with your parents. You made efforts. So, like I said, it's just for liability reasons. So you're Alyssa. What's your middle name?
I'm just Alyssa Singer.
Just Alyssa Singer? Okay. All right.
Like, my mom was already going to come pick me up at his house later anyway. My stuff's upstairs.
For the court, this is not just a lie. It is a demonstration of awareness. The defense tries to shift focus. They speak of psychological difficulties, development, social immaturity, claim Alyssa did not fully understand consequences. But each argument meets one question. How does someone unaware consistently maintain a complex deception network? The judge focuses on duration. Not one incident, not one mistake, but months of systematic behavior, prepared scripts, phone substitution, family reactions during searches, lack of cooperation. The family's role is also examined. The prosecution does not accuse directly, but clearly shows that actions presented as protection actually obstructed investigation. The judge states plainly that helping conceal evidence is not care.
I think it's clear from just the content of the text messages, this is not a 22-year-old adult having communication with somebody who she saw as her equal.
During hearings, Alyssa barely reacts to mentions of victims. She does not look away, does not show emotion. Everyone notices. But for the court, something else matters more. There are no roles left in the room. No teenage persona. There is an adult and adult responsibility. When the detective handling the case speaks, police say more victims possible. Investigation goes on. New tips come in. Her network was bigger. Consequences grow. No quick end. It becomes clear the investigation is not finished. Some contacts are still being verified. Some people are not yet ready to testify. There is a possibility there are more victims than currently known. This becomes a key argument. The court concludes no release conditions can guarantee community safety.
This is not a 22-year-old child. This is an adult. They would argue there are no conditions of release reasonably sufficient to protect the community from the risk of persons, and specifically to male individuals under the age of 18.
Alyssa is held without bond. Judge denies bond again. She waits in jail. Months pass. Trial nears. Boys try to move on. But scars remain. Trust hard to rebuild. She is prohibited from contacting and from accessing electronic devices. The legend that existed for years in digital space has nowhere left to exist. After the hearing, consequences are not immediate, but deep.
You show no regard for the safety of these young.
For victims, a process of reevaluation begins. Boys feel shame, anger, some lose trust online. Therapy helps. But it takes time. Years, maybe. Alyssa faces that in court. What seemed mutual turns out to be a tool. What looked like closeness, a role.
He indicated that a video of himself was being circulated through Snapchat.
Did he know who was doing it?
Yes.
Who was that?
He identified the person as Miss Alyssa Zinger.
Many admit the hardest part is not deception itself, but realizing how long they failed to see danger. Some feel shame, some anger, some lose trust in online space entirely. Psychologists note that loss of trust in one's own perception can have long-term effects.
This case represents only one of the multiple that Ms. Zinger was not only contacting and having messages with through social media, but also meeting and having.
People begin doubting not only others, but themselves. For Alyssa's family, this stage is also a turning point. Defensive strategy no longer works. Public space does not accept explanations built on denial of the obvious. Yet even now, they cling to the image of their daughter as a victim of circumstances. Not always conscious, justification, often inability to accept reality.
And preying upon them. You have been taking advantage of them.
Alyssa herself, in isolation, faces a situation where she cannot control narrative, she cannot change image, cannot adapt, cannot use emotion as tool. Only silence and waiting remain. Alyssa Zinger faces severe charges. She sits in jail, waiting for trial. Her web of lies is destroyed, but the damage to the victims is permanent. This case is a brutal wake-up call for every parent and grandparent watching. Check your children's phones. Know who they are talking to. Because on the internet, a monster can wear the face of an innocent child.